Well, hello again, and welcome to another edition of Weird News and Wacky History, a look behind the scenes of what's been happening throughout the years. I'm your host, Pastor Roland Moss, that old history dude. Being Queen of England isn't all fun and games, as we'll discover today in Being Queen. Because of intermarrying between royal bloodlines, the British royal family has links to numerous European countries. But it wasn't until after visiting the Transylvanian region of Romania in 1998 that then Prince Charles discovered that he was a blood relative of Vlad the Impaler. The inspiration for Bram Stoker's character Dracula, Vlad loved impaling his enemies on sharpened stakes and skewered thousands of victims in 1462 alone. Charles is quite fond of Transylvania and owns property there. His Prince Charles Foundation has done much to teach the Romanians conservation and sustainable farming techniques. The grateful mayor of the city of Alba Iulia has even suggested bestowing the title of Prince of Transylvania on Charles in recognition of his efforts in helping popularize the area. But Queen Elizabeth wasn't too sure about these distant Romanian relatives. Before a state visit by Romanian leader Nicolae Ceausescu and his wife Elena in 1978, Queen quietly removed all of the valuables from the guest suite. The Ceausescus had made off with thousands of dollars of vases, lamps, ashtrays, and bathroom fittings during a state visit to Paris a few years earlier. The French president called ahead to warn the Queen. She even hid behind a bush to avoid talking to her light-fingered guests. Did you know that the Queen spoke a secret language? Launer London manufactures high-end ladies' handbags. Founded in 1940 by Samuel Launer, a Czech refugee from Nazi oppression, Queen Mother Elizabeth bought her first Launer in the 1950s. In 1968, they were given a royal warrant to supply handbags to Queen Elizabeth. She's since purchased over 200 handbags from Launer. At over $2,800 each, you'd better save your shillings if you want to buy one. Elizabeth carried what most women keep in their purses. But the true importance lies in the secret language of the purse. The Queen's staff were carefully versed in the lingo of the Launer handbag. If the Queen transferred her purse from its usual perch on her left arm to her right while engaged in conversation with someone, she's signaling she wants to bring the talk to a close. Placing her bag on the floor is a distress signal. She's completely uncomfortable in the situation and wants rescued immediately. Launer language at the dinner table is a bit different. Placing her bag on the table sends a message that she wants the gathering to come to a close in the next 5 minutes. And now you know. In videos of the Queen, watch her bag and see what's really happening. When Her Highness can't be everywhere, there's always her stage double. Being the Queen of England takes time. The social calendar of this lady in her 90s was booked solid. Plus, every single event is carefully choreographed in advance. That's where Ella Slack, a BBC Sports and Events Department manager, which also handles broadcasting events, comes in. Bearing a striking resemblance to Queen Elizabeth, she's been the royal stand-in at rehearsals, run-throughs, and practices of every kind for 3 decades. When the Queen complained that the sun would be in her eyes at an event and asked the BBC to do something, Ella volunteered to walk through the venue ahead of time since she was similar in stature and looks. And she's been doing it ever since. But there are strict restrictions regarding her duties. Absolutely no sitting on the throne. I have to lurk above it. It's a very strict rule. But if she's riding in a carriage or a car preparing for an event, she's allowed to wave to the crowds. Despite her years of experience, this isn't a job, nor does she accept any payment for her role. Calling her standing in a pleasure and an honor. She raves of the real Queen. She's never made a single mistake. She's truly a remarkable woman. But sometimes the Queen does have a bit of fun. When the Olympics came to London in 2012, Britain wanted to pull out all the stops and make these games particularly memorable. For Her Majesty the Queen, this involved an unbelievable break with her normally stuffy royal protocol. A year earlier, the film director Danny Boyle had approached the royal household with a radical request. Would the Queen be interested in doing a film for the opening ceremony escorted by Daniel Craig in his role of James Bond? She loved the idea. Then it got even better. When asked if she'd like a speaking part, she replied, "Of course I must say something. After all, he's coming to rescue me." Afraid of embarrassing her, they offered to have a double. Perhaps Helen Mirren do the part. "Oh no, we're delighted for you to do it, and Her Majesty would like to be in it herself." The film begins in the room where the Queen greets state leaders. Elizabeth had just spent the morning in the dentist chair, but delivered her line perfectly. After flight in the royal chopper to the stadium, Her Majesty appears to halo jump into the arena. The crowds went nuts. Oh, and her line to Daniel Craig? "Good evening, Mr. Bond." And that's about all the time we have for this episode of Weird News and Wacky History, a look behind the scenes of what's been happening throughout the years. I'm your host, Pastor Roland Moss, author, historian, and speaker. hoping that all of your history may be just a little bit weird.